A military crackdown causes Cameroonian refugees to flee into Nigeria.
Encouraging integrity and hard work, the Nigerian Youth Summit addresses concerns for young people to be part of development.
Singing the blues, activist Ursula Ricks uses a distinctly American music style with roots in African culture. Africa 54 starts right now.
Thanks for tuning into the show that goes around the continent to bring stories near and far. I'm Anne Nwawado at Channels Television here in Lagos, and I'm joined by Vincent McCory at Voice of America in Washington.
Well, thank you very much, Anne. I'm Vincent McCory at our global headquarters here in Washington, D.C. Happy to join you again for another edition of Africa 54. Now, let's start off with a look at the Cameroon refugee crisis, and Nwagado in Lagos brings us that story.
Indeed. Thousands of Cameroonians are taking refuge in Nigeria as a military crackdown on Anglophone secessionists intensifies. In Cross River State, there are at least 32,000 Cameroonian refugees living in host communities, and in Benue State, over 10,000 of them are being catered for in a camp. The influx of refugees is expected to continue as many forced to flee their homes make their way through various borders.
The borderline between Nigeria and Cameroon stretches across Adamawa, Taraba, Benue and Cross River states, which share land borders with Cameroon's southeast and northwest regions, also known as the Anglophone region of the Central African country. On the ground, the proximity of both nations provide escape routes for southern Cameroonians who have been fleeing violence back home since last October, following a military crackdown on separatists who are calling for independence on the basis of alleged marginalization by the French-speaking majority. Today, according to the Cross River State Emergency Management Agency, there are over 32,000 Cameroonian refugees in various host communities in the state, and many are still crossing on a daily basis. Authorities are making efforts to make room for the migrants despite their overstretched resources.
It's not been really easy though. We had to cry out loud. We cried out loud to other humanitarian organizations to come in because even the host community were overstretched. First, in a room where you have 2 persons living as people from the host community, today you have as much as 12 persons in a room.
In Benue State, Konde local government area is now home to many Anglophone Cameroonian refugees. In the company of Nigerian authorities, the UNHCR, which has been monitoring the situation, makes an arduous journey through forest paths to meet the migrants. The destination is Abande refugee camp, which hosts over 10,000 Cameroonian refugees who have been arriving from the troubled southern region since November. Some of the refugees relate the circumstances that forced them to flee.
You started hearing the guns. Those soldiers, those army are shooting. So they shot them very well. Then finally, the next morning, they killed up to 6 people. Died on my president. I saw them with my eye. So from then I will come at our villages to run and enter Nigeria.
The UNHCR official assesses the condition of the camp and assures them of necessary assistance.
What we are taking back to think about is how then we organize a program of responding to this situation in a manner that we sustain the efforts that the government has already started. I take from here also a message from the government that the situation in Cameroon needed to be resolved so that people can return as soon as possible back to their country.
The ongoing crisis in Benue State and other parts of the country is certainly not a reason to look away from the responsibility of taking in refugees from its neighbor, especially for a nation like Nigeria, which is not new to playing big brother to troubled nations on the continent.
Joining us for more on the humanitarian situation arising from the presence of Cameroonian refugees in Cross River State is Mr. John Enaku. He's the Director General of Cross River State Emergency Management Agency. He joins us now from Calabar, the Cross River State capital. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right, Nigerian authorities were aware of the arrival of Cameroonian refugees ahead of time, but did your agency envisage this huge influx in such a short time?
It was not a surprise at all. We are aware and we actually prepared for that, except the difference was that we didn't expect that we'll have as much as what we have now. Otherwise, we're ready and we knew they were going to come in. My governor, Professor Ben Ayade, had always cautioned that I should be in red alert to receive migrants from the Cameroon, and so we're equal to the task.
All right, being the first respondents in this situation, give us an idea of what the current situation is like at the moment.
Well, so far, when they came in initially, it was a Herculean task, though, because first we didn't actually budget for them, and so other monies that were meant for other situations, we in the Cross River State will always have rain till November, and so all we had was now, instead of attending to those who were flood victims, we now channel our resources to those of them who are coming in. And so on that note, we're able to cope the situation and immediately inform the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, the National Commission for Refugees, other multinational organizations like the Red Cross, Doctors Across Borders, and Save the Children. All of these agencies were now invited to come in, and they responded speedily.
All right. In many cases, as we have seen in the past, the struggle for limited resources pits refugees against their host communities. How is this being handled?
Well, as a matter of fact, it's not really been easy because the number keeps increasing by the day. As I speak with you, there are even areas where the National Commission for Refugees has not been able to access. The United Nations High Commission for Refugees has not been able to access. The Doctors Across Borders, that's Medicine Sans Frontiers, have not been able to access. All of these areas are because the places are in the interior. And so what we simply did as first responders and host communities, SEMA has gone into the suburb, right in there. We're walking, traversing the entire length and breadth of all neighboring villages and towns bordering the Cameroon. And on that note, we'll be able to discover that so many areas are there that people have not really gone into. First, they are now relying on the immigration position, the conventional route that people are supposed to come into a country. And when they see those migrants coming in from there, they record those ones. But others are, because in the quest to sustain your life, others will come in from every area, from the forest. Some have spent their time like 4 weeks in the forest, and they just get through into other areas through the bush path. And so on that note, we'll be able to okay, we have the figures, and our figures they should work on. So that's why there's a difference between our figures and the figures of the United Nations High Commission for Refugees and the National Commission for Refugees.
All right, but what's the support level for this crisis, and how much can Nigeria actually handle while the conflict in southern Cameroon exists or lasts?
Yeah, so far, the Minister of Interior is informed, and they are equally working hard to see that we're able to provide them with the necessary things that we desire. The National Commission for Refugees has been able to give them, they've provided relief materials, food and non-food items, and they are working hard enough to see that we're able to provide camps. Recently, the country representative of the United Nations High Commission for Refugees was here. He has seen things for himself and has desired that, a camp or camps be provided for them from their host communities, and has tried to establish an office in Calabar.
Thank you very much, Mr. John Enaku, who's the Director General of Cross River State Emergency Management Agency. Thank you for your time on Africa 54.
Thank you very much.
Well, I want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54. And check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Coming up, a cash crisis in Zimbabwe. Without money available, how are Zimbabweans coping?